Welcome to Plug and Play Blues number 3. In this lesson, we're going to talk turnarounds. Now, turnarounds are a real exciting point of a typical blues progression. And today I've got 4 different ideas that will fit nicely into the Texas Shuffle Blues that we've been working on in this series. I think you're really going to enjoy it, so let's get started. Turnaround number 1 has a real classic sound to it. We're going to take the 3rd and the 2nd string and move down chromatically while pedaling the open E string in bar 1. And then we're going to finish off by walking into the B7 part to end off the turnaround, but we're going to do it in a pretty Texas way by adding in some hammer-on and pull-off techniques. Let's take a close look at turnaround number 1. Now this first bar for this turnaround is really characteristic of a good solid blues turnaround, and that really comes in the fact that you heard this open first string ringing throughout. In fact, we pedal through it on the end of each beat. So we start out like this with the open 6th string, 1 and, then we move into this position, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. You notice every time I said and, we were striking the open first string. So to recap what we're doing there, we've got the open 6th string, open first string, then this little mini chord shape here, just a 2-note deal here on the 4th fret 3rd string and the 3rd fret 2nd string. You're going to slide into that, 1 and 2 and, back it up 1 fret, 3 and, do that again, 4 and that finishes out the first bar of this turnaround. The second bar starts out with this cool little hammer-on to the 3rd string 1st fret from the open, and then hits this E note here on the 2nd fret 4th string. Then we do this little walk-up move, this really cool Texas sounding move. And that happens here on the 3rd fret 6th string, hammer on from the open 5th to the 1st fret 5th, and then 2nd fret 5th. And really, when you hit that 2nd fret, you want to get into B7 position here. And for just a quick moment, we're going to hit the top 3 strings held under that B7 chord. Then we're going to do this nice little hammer-on pull-off combination move from the 5th string open to the 1st fret, then back to open. Then finally we're going to finish out with this minor 3rd note here. This is the G on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. And you'll want to pull that, do a nice little blues bend, pull that slightly out of tune. And then finally you can end by really starting back into your progression. But let's play through the turnaround as one part pretty slowly so you can get it under your fingers. Turnaround number 2 is a real lick-centric turnaround. We're going to play a lot more melodically and really put some guitar techniques into turnaround number 2. So let's get started going note by note through this turnaround. For turnaround number 2, we're going to start out with the open 6th string followed by the open 1st string. I'm going to slide into this B note on the 3rd string 4th fret, then hit the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, then back to the open 6, open 1st. And then we do this ultra bluesy slide down and pull off move. So I'm planted here on this 4th fret 3rd string, but we're going to strike that note and slide back to the 2nd and then pull off. And that pull off happens to be the open 3rd string. Then down on the E note to finish this little mini lick off on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. That's the sound that you're going for. It's really got a vocal slurred quality to it. And once you're there, then we're ready to start at the top of bar 2 for this turnaround. And what we're going to do is pinch the open 6th string and the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, then pluck the open 3rd string, then come down on the 2nd fret of the 4th string and pull off to the open, then come down on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. So that sounds like this. And once you get to this 2nd fret on the 5th string, that's a B note, and it's really our anchor for the last part of this bar, which is going to be some picking and strumming through at least part of a full B7 chord. So what we're going to do is once you get that to this B note, put your fingers down in position to play at least these 3 notes. Sometimes you can do this full B7 just out of habit, but for this particular part, we're just going to hit the B note and then the 4th and 3rd string under the B7, then strum these 3 strings, 5, 4, and 3, and then really just going to do a light ghost note of these open strings to get into our E. So and that's really just finishing out the measure here. So here's what that 2nd bar sounds like. And I let that open just hang a little bit there so you could hear what's happening. Really sounds kind of gnarly, but when you play it up to tempo, that can give some life and sort of push-pull to the chord change here. So let's put these 2 bars together, and I'll play through them rather slowly, and I'll play it up to speed. Turnarounds don't always have to descend in pitch, like we did in bar 1 of turnaround number 1. In this example, turnaround number 3, we're going to walk up the fretboard, and we're going to do so in the bass register while catching a couple of 7th chords along the way. This one's really useful, especially if you want to change positions pretty dramatically on the neck. Now let's get started breaking down turnaround number 3. This turnaround clearly happens in the bass register, and it's a fun way to walk up to another part of the neck. And how we get there is we're going to start with the open 6th string and then hit this pairing of notes here. It's really just straight out of the E major chord. So you could fret it like this. And I'm plucking, simultaneously, I'm plucking the 4th and 3rd string there. Then we start this walk up from the open 1st and 2nd, and then on the off beat there we're going to pluck the 2nd fret of the 4th string and the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. So that's really once we arrive at the 2nd fret, like that, and that really is coming out of an F sharp 7 chord. So it's got that real cool dominant 7th vibe that the blues is full of. And then we're going to continue the walk up from there by going 2, 3, 4, and then do this same thing with this dominant 7 shape here. And that's based around this G sharp here on the 4th fret of the 6th string. Then we're going to do a simple walk up 5, 6 to this B7, which is really the chord we've been driving to for these 2 bars. And I'm going to fret this leading off with my middle finger. It's just comfortable for me because we're getting here this way. I'm just going to walk up from the 5th fret, 6th fret, so I can lead off with my middle finger and then move my ring finger into this note here, and that's on the 7th fret of the 4th string, and then the 8th fret with my pinky. Might be a little uncomfortable for you, and you can certainly do whatever fingering works for you. The point is to make sure to get these notes. So let's walk through this walk up rather slowly. And then up to speed. I absolutely love the sound of turnaround number 4. It's got what's called contrary motion, where on one string we're going to be climbing up in a chromatic fashion in pitch. On another string at the same time, we're going to be moving down. And it just creates this sort of interesting thing that your ear can't quite figure out, at least when you first start hearing and playing this. It's very useful, very unique, and something that's a ton of fun to play on the guitar. So let's get started breaking down turnaround number 4. Now this turnaround has a shared characteristic with turnaround 1, and that is that we're pedaling on that open 1st string. So that is a classic blues turnaround move, and we're going to keep that going throughout bar 1. But the real magic of this turnaround is this contrary motion. And what I mean by that is the 3rd string is going up in pitch chromatically, while at the same time the 2nd string is going down in pitch chromatically. So let's take a deep look at that. We're going to hit the open 6th string followed by the 1st string open. Then we're going to get into this position here, which is really just the top of an E7. But what I'm doing is playing the 1st string on the 3rd fret and then the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So 1st on the 3rd and then 3rd on the 2nd. And we go. So pluck those two together, and then strike the open 1st string for that pedal. Then we want to move both of these strings, the 3rd and 2nd string, to the 2nd fret. Strike those together, and then the open 1st. Then we're going to continue this, counter motion here. So I'm going to go to the 1st fret on the 2nd string and the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. Strike those, hit the open 1st. And then finally move up to the 4th fret and then the open 2nd string to finish off that contrary motion idea. And once we're there, I'm going to hit the open 6th string and then do another classic turnaround ending. I'm going to start a fret higher than the chord that I'm ultimately going to strum out. So what I'm doing is basically fretting up this B7 shape, but moving it up to the 3rd fret on the 5th string, the 2nd fret on the 4th string, and then back to the 3rd on the 3rd string. So we go. So you pump the E, quickly hit this, really it's a C7, then move down to the B and strum out. And here again, I do that open ghost note deal. It's very light, but it's in there because it gives a nice rhythm to the chord change. hope you enjoy learning these turnarounds. You know, they're a lot of fun to play and super useful. And here's how you can get started using them with what we've learned already in Plug and Play Blues. The progression that we covered in lesson number 1 loops back on itself quite naturally. 12-bar blues is just designed to do that. But now we've got these 4 different turnarounds that we can plug in to the final 2 bars of each chorus. So now you can play through chorus 1 with turnaround 1, chorus 2 with turnaround 2, chorus 3 with turnaround 3, and then finally a 4th chorus with the 4th turnaround. And you can mix and match those any way you want, but once you can do that, you can play 4 total choruses, and you're well on your way to playing an entire blues song that doesn't bore you as a player or the audience as a listener. Now, to further that idea, we're going to spice things up even more in lesson number 4, where we're going to talk about some cool chord moves that you can throw into the progression at various different spots. I think you're going to get a lot out of it, so I really hope to see you in lesson number 4.